As Nancy said, I'm a member of the Rochester Genealogical Society. I do a lot of presentations for the Society's DNA interest group. Back in the olden days when we could all meet in person, we also would hold workshops at the Irondequoit Library, where myself and a few other people from the society would help people who come in and have questions about the DNA test that they've taken. Hopefully, we'll get back to that point again someday soon. Tonight, I'm going to demonstrate DNA Painter, which is a website where you can paint your chromosomes. You of course will have to have taken a DNA test to be able to do this. DNA Painter's website is free. You have to register for it. I'm going to start sharing my screen here so I can show you what I'm talking about here. Now, hopefully I can get this the right way. Let's see. So hopefully you can see the DNA Painter screen now.
Yep.
Okay. So I've already signed in. I have permission from one of my stepdaughters to use her test results and to paint her chromosomes. Her name is Danielle. She's up in the corner here. So I made I actually used one of my email addresses to make this, to register for her on the site here. And there's a couple different aspects to the DNA Painter site. There's ancestral trees, which I have not done anything with on this site, but it's just where you can either create or upload your family tree. I imagine it would use a GEDCOM. I've not done anything about that, so we're not going to talk about that tonight. I do want to point out the tools in Watto, because these are some very important things to use as you're doing your DNA research. One of the important things is the shared CM tool. CM stands for centimorgan. That's just a measurement of the size of a DNA segment. And I think it might be Blaine Bettinger that put this chart together. Yeah, Blaine Bettinger did this. And he did a study where people uploaded data. You know, they would say, you know, I matched my first cousin at X amount of centimorgans, and he compiled all that data. And so now this chart shows the ranges for, so for instance here, first cousin. If you have a first cousin, you should share anywhere from 396 to 1,397 centimorgans of DNA, the average being 866. So all the numbers on this chart are empirical from actual data. And then what this tool allows you to do is you can put in, say you have a match that's 156 centimorgans. You don't know how you're related to that person. You can put that number up in here, and then down in the chart, it will highlight all the different possibilities of how you can be related to that person based on the size of your DNA match. And as you can see, there's usually a lot of different possibilities. But this is just a neat tool, and I wanted to point it out. There's another tool called the Watto tree, which in Watto is what are the odds? I don't think I have any built on here, but this is where you can, this is good for if you're exploring an adoption or just an unknown match. It's a way to build a tree and to put in the sizes of the matches you have with different people, and it will calculate the odds of you being related through different hypotheses. And you know, that might be a topic sometime to do a talk in itself. But tonight, what we're going to do is look at the chromosome map. Okay. Now I said the DNA Painter site is free, and you only get to do one chromosome map. You can subscribe and pay them money, and then you can do an unlimited number of different maps, I think. But if you're just doing yours, the free one is good enough. And on the beginning here, there's a link to a video for an introduction to DNA Painter, which is probably going to be a lot better than what I'm going to do. But I'm going to actually show you how to map. Now, the first thing you have to understand is you need segment data to do this. So if you've tested at Ancestry DNA, you can't do this unless you download your Ancestry DNA results and upload them someplace else, either to preferably GEDmatch or to Family Tree DNA or to MyHeritage, because Ancestry DNA does not give us the numbers that we need to use. All right, so let me go to create a new map. All right, so I'm going to give this a name. Call it Danielle. Danielle is a female. And it's going to start. So now what this gives us is a blank chromosome map. Okay, so we go all the way down to 22 chromosomes and the X. There's nothing there because I haven't painted anything yet. But you can see there's 2 sections for each chromosome. We have to remember we get one chromosome from mom and another one, and the other one from dad. So you have 2 copies of each chromosome. All right, now in order to paint, we have to, let me stop sharing because I have to share. We have to go to GEDmatch. So I got to switch over to a different screen to show you GEDmatch. Okay, so here's GEDmatch. I'm going to log in. Hopefully you can see the GEDmatch page now.
Yep.
All right, so I have a whole bunch of people on GEDmatch. I'm going to go down to, here's Danielle's test. I'm just going to click on that. And it's going to take me to her list of matches on GEDmatch. All right, so on this list, the top one on her list, KTS, is Danielle's mother. There's really, I guess I could paint that, but I'm gonna skip that one. I'm gonna go to DMT here. That's Danielle's half sister. Now what you need to do is keep track of the numbers, the kit numbers. And I don't even know Danielle's kit number, so I'm gonna have to go back to the home page. I gotta write Danielle's kit number down. A826174. So now I'm gonna go to another tool on GEDmatch, which is and GEDmatch is also a free site. They do have a tier 1 thing that you can pay money for to use, but everything I'm doing here is the free, on the free site. So I'm going to go to the 1-to-1 autosomal comparison. See, I copied the sister's kit. I'm going to type in Danielle's kit number here, 826174. I'm going to change this to position only. And I'm just going to hit the compare. I'm going to leave all the defaults the same. I'm going to hit compare. So what this does now is this gives me a list of all those segments where Danielle and her half sister match each other. It's a big list because they are half sisters, so they have a lot of DNA in common. So now I'm just going to select all the things on this table. I'm going to do a Control V to copy. And then I'm going to stop sharing, because I have to go back over to the other screen now to where DNA Painter is. All right, now hopefully you're back on DNA Painter now, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to hit up here in the corner, paint a new match. And really all I have to do now is Control V. Well, oh shoot, I didn't copy Apparently I didn't copy what I needed to. Let me just run back over to GEDmatch and copy that stuff again. I don't know why that didn't take, but we'll try it again. So Control C. And I go back here. Let's see if I can paste it in. Okay, there we go. So I just pasted exactly what I copied from that table. Didn't have to make any changes. And now I just do Save Match. All right, so now I have to give DNA Painter some information about the match. So I do know how these two are connected. This is D. Nicole. Let's see. All right, so now here in this box, you either want to put the ancestor, the name of the most common ancestor, most recent common ancestor, or the couple. In this case, I'm just going to say mom because Danielle and D. Nicole share the same mother. They have different fathers. So since I know the exact ancestor where this came from, I'm going to just leave it as mom rather than do a couple. Since it's mom, it's maternal. And pink is a nice color for that. I don't need to put any notes in, but you can add any notes you want. And then I just save the match. And voila, everything is painted for Danielle and her sister. So now I can click on one of the chromosomes and it will expand. So you see it shows the name here, Nicole. It shows the pieces that they share. And you can see it's on the maternal side. All right, so that's one. So now I'm going to go back. I think I'm going to leave you all on the DNA Painter screen because it's kind of a hassle to stop sharing and going back. I'm just going to run over to GEDmatch, go back to the, well, actually, you know what? Let me show you this a couple of times on GEDmatch. So let me share GEDmatch again. Okay, so now this was what I copied. So now I'm going to have to hit the back button, I guess. All right, this is I've got a good browser where it left it left everything in that I filled in. So I can leave Danielle's kit there. Oh, well, this isn't going to work because I don't have the kit that I want to. I do have to go back to the home because I have to go back to that main list again. Now here's another version of, oh wait, that's 1-to-1 again. I clicked on the wrong thing. Let me go back. So here's another one-to-many tool. I got to type in Danielle's number again. All right, so let's go and do Renee now. 187990. All right, so I know who Renee is. So let me stop sharing and get you back on the other screen. All right, there's DNA Painter. Let me see, hopefully. All right, can you see Ancestry.com now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a tree. This is Danielle's tree, Danielle's pedigree. So if you're mapping matches that you know, you do it one way. If you're mapping people you don't know, it's different. But I just want to show you this tree because Renee that we're going to do now, Renee is actually the brother of Jack Tangent. So this is Danielle's grandfather's brother that we're going to map now. And Danielle's tree is kind of interesting. She has the Norwegian here on the tangents. Palmyra, she's from Belgium. Nichols and Perry, we got back to, they probably go New York to New England. Kelly and Stewart are Irish. Baylor and Babcock, I think, go back to New England. Warney is German. Labarge actually goes back to French Canadian, back to Acadia. Barnhart and Welton, they're also New York, probably New England. So it's a pretty diverse tree. So I know anyway, I know who Renee is. So I'm going to, actually, I've got to run back to GEDmatch and copy. I got to do that one-to-one thing again. Let me take you back there. All right, so I have to remember now. Okay, I got Renee's kit number written down. I'm going to go back home. I'm going to go back to the one-to-one tool. Danielle was A826174. I want position only. Renee tangent is 187,990. I'm going to hit compare. So here we have this is her grandfather's brother. So they have a fair amount of DNA that they share. I'm going to highlight. I'm going to do Control C. Take you back to DNA Painter. Painter's right here. All right, we're going to paint a match. We're going to paste it in.
Don, can I just say one thing?
Yep.
I actually have a question. So I see up there, we're under the paint a match. You can get this information from GEDmatch, which is where you're getting it from.
Yep.
But also, if somebody has the FTDNA, 23andMe, or MyHeritage, that same information they can bring over to DNA Painter.
You can, yes.
Okay.
Well, FTDNA. So there's 4 places, yeah.
Okay.
And I can log on to FTDNA and MyHeritage at some point and try to show where the information is. 23andMe, I've never had anybody test there, so I know it can be done. I can't show that one.
Okay, thank you.
All right, but I want to do a couple more of these because I want to do an unknown one, and then we can pop back and forth. Okay, so I'm gonna save this match. Again, this is one where I know how this is connected. So I'm going to put in the name Renee Tangent. Oh, look, I've done this before, I think. Let me pop down here. This is paternal because this is Danielle's father's brother. So I know it's on her father's side. Now here, I'm going to go back to the tree. Okay. So at this point, I have a choice of what to name. So anything that Danielle matches with Renee, she had to have gotten from her grandfather, Jack Tangent. Okay, so I could put Jack Tangent as that person, or I could go back one generation and say that this DNA was from Frithjof and Palmyra. Or Palmyra, I don't know how her name was pronounced, but that's what they mean by single ancestor or the couple. Okay, I prefer to, if I can pin it down to one person, I prefer to use that. So I know Danielle's match with Renee had to come through Jack, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to call this Jack Tangent. And you can be creative. I'm going to put grandfather here, because as you get deeper and deeper into this, and you're painting smaller and smaller matches that are from ancestors further and further back, it might help you just to have notes in here to keep track about what's going on. Green, I'm not going to be picky about the color. I'm just going to save the match. Okay, so already we can see here where there's some overlap here, right? So on chromosome 1, Dina Cole and Danielle match here, and Danielle and Renee match here. So these are 2 different segments. So even though these overlap, they're actually 2 different chromosomes. All right, so let's go back now to GEDmatch and pick somebody else to paint. All right, so we got to go back, hit the back button. Got to go back to the home because I need that list of that one-to-many list. And it gets kind of repetitious having to do some of this stuff. Now, the good thing is once you paint a segment of a match, you don't really have to go back and paint that again. All right, so let's see. Let's do WindCat. So I have to write this number down, 628619. You know what? If I'm smart, I'll write a couple down while I'm here.
And I do have a question from Jane.
Okay.
She asked, do you load your DNA in as well?
What do you mean, do you load? I'm not sure what that question means. Because what we're looking at is how you match other people. So really what we're mapping your chromosomes. So what we're looking at here are Danielle's matches. So this is DNA that Danielle has. Okay. We're just tagging it as a match with Renee tangent or a match with Nicole. So I guess I'd have to hear a little bit more from that person about that question because I'm not sure how to answer. I'm not sure what's meant.
Okay, she said she gets it now.
Okay, all right. All right, what was it doing here? Oh, back on GEDmatch. I'm going to write down 2 or 3 kit numbers so I can do this a little faster. Let's see, I'm gonna try. Let me just find one more. I'm going to try to find an unknown one that's on Ancestry.
I probably won't watch this whole thing on. I don't get the point of it.
Okay. You want the wine?
Okay, I've got a few. Let me go now back to home, back into the one-to-many, or the one-to-one. Put in Danielle again. As I said, this gets kind of repetitive. Okay, A628, 619. Okay, this is another fairly large match. I'm going to copy, Control C. I gotta stop sharing so I can go to the other map. All right, so let me back up to paint a match. I hope I got the right one and not just the same. Well, let's see. Let's see. I'm not sure. So I'm going to say I don't know who this is. This is WindCat, is what the name is on the list. WindCat. All right. So since I'm saying I don't know who this is, I'm just going to say unknown here. Unknown matches. I'm going to leave this as not sure or both. I don't want to use blue because blue is not really, blue is more of a paternal thing. So I'm changing the color. Just save it. What I'm really trying to do is make sure I have somebody different. I wanted to make sure that I still didn't have Renee's in my clipboard. And it does look like it's different. Okay. All right, so now we want to, so let's go see if we can figure out who WinCat is. So here's Danielle's matches on Ancestry. So there's Renee. Here's WinCat right here. Okay. Now the trouble is you'll see people on GEDmatch that are not necessarily on Ancestry, and you'll see people on your Ancestry list that aren't necessarily on GEDmatch. But here's WinCat. So let's see if we can figure out who this is. I've already got a note in there that it's on the mother's side. Oh, a public tree with 2 people. And of course, I let my subscription lapse, so it's not going to let me look at the tree. Okay, all right. Well, so I'm not quite sure who this person is. I have an idea, but I'm not sure. But we do know from my note that it's on the maternal side. So what I can do now is I should be able to go in and edit this match. I'm going to edit this match. I'm going to move these to another group. I'm going to create a new group. I'm going to call this unknown maternal. And I'm going to put this on the maternal side. Okay, that's a fine color. And I'm just going to now save it. So now if I close this, so now we can see it's moved them over to maternal. So you can see breaks here. So Danielle got this piece of DNA from her mother, and D. Nicole got different pieces of DNA from her mother because they don't match, or else WinCat got different DNA. But that's an interesting thing. So now here's where the 2 overlap. So this is chromosome 10, and if you click on the bar, it'll show you where they match. So 140 for 49 million, 115 million on chromosome 10. So now since they overlap and they're both related on Danielle's mother's side, WinCat and D. Nicole should match each other on this segment. But since neither of these 2 people are related to Renee Tangent, they should not overlap, even though it's the same area of chromosome 10. So I think it might be instructive to go and look at this on GEDmatch. So let me share GEDmatch again. All right, so I'm going to go back.
So Don,
Yep.
when you copy and paste, you're copying the headings too, and I guess that's acceptable. It won't
Yeah.
mess
Yeah.
up the data or anything. Interesting.
Right. Yeah, they've got this. Yeah, Johnny Pearl made this site. He's got it coded so that it's trying to make it as user friendly as possible.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So what I want to show you here quickly is we're going to go back to the one-to-one tool. If I can get my mouse in the right place. The one-to-one tool. Okay, here's well, we're not going to look at Danielle. We're going to look at shoot, I got to go back and get Nikki's kit number. Hold on. D. Nicole is where? Someplace on my big list. D. Nicole is A331031. Okay, so I'm going to go into the one-to-one tool. I'm going to put D. Nicole A331031. And then I'm going to put WinCat's number, which was A628619. I'm going to do position only. I'm going to compare. So if we go down to chromosome 10, we do see that between 53 million and 115 million base pairs, Dina Cole does match their cousin Windcat, as it should be. Now, if we go back and compare Dina Cole to Renee Tangent, and he was A187 990. They don't share any DNA because they're not related. So even though, let me go back to DNA Painter now. So if we were looking at matches in a chromosome browser on chromosome 10 for Danielle, all of these 3 people would overlap in the chromosome browser, but they're not the same. It's actually not the same chromosome because this is from Danielle's father and this one is from her mother, and they're different pieces. So you have to be careful when you're looking at a chromosome browser. And this is one of the things that DNA Painter helps you with as you're painting these segments. So let me do another one. I'm gonna pop over to GEDmatch, but I'm gonna leave you guys on DNA Painter. I'm gonna do a 1-to-1 for Danielle and this next match. And then I'll copy it and paste it in. A158-380 is the one we're gonna do now. Compare. Oh, this is interesting. Oh wait, that's not the one I wanted to do. Okay, let me try this again here. Sorry, I typed in the wrong number. A296 360. Okay, yeah, this has fewer segments. So I'm going to copy them. Go back over to DNA Painter, paint a new match. Okay, now let's see, I'll save the match. Now let's see, now I have to go back to the list of matches and see if I know who this person is. I believe she's on here someplace. Yes, so the person that I'm painting now is Charlotte Miracle. So let's see, we have a common ancestor. Okay, so this is interesting. So the common ancestors, Anna Welton and John Barnhart. All right, so that's the information I wanted. So I'm gonna call this Charlotte Miracle. Oh, let's see, I don't want a capital H there. Okay. All right, so this time I'm gonna do Barnhart. Wait a minute, let me type it right. Barnhart / Welton. Is that what it was? Barnhart and Welton, yes. Oh, yes. This is on the maternal side. I don't like using blue for maternal. Let's use a purple. Save the match. Okay, so we have some purple. So I can close some of these now. So here's chromosome 11. Oh, again, here's a nice little breaks in it. So over here, we see the groups that we've been making. So if you want to look at who's, unfortunately, each group has only one person so far. But if you click on a group, it'll show you everybody you've got in that group so far. And then you can edit the group, put notes on the group, different things. All right, so let's do one more that is somebody that I don't know, but who is on Ancestry, and this is going to be a distant cousin, I think, because it's only going to have one. I think they only share one segment. So let me grab the stuff from GEDmatch that I need. Okay, so this one, they only match one segment. It's a pretty big one though. It's also on chromosome 10, which is good. All right, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come over here and paste this in. Save the match. Now I'm going to say I don't know how we're connected. This person's name is M. Witten. All right, so I should be able to add this to a group that I already. All right, I'm going to choose an existing group because I already have an unknown, right? I'm going to put this person in the unknown matches. All right, and so since I've already picked a color for that, it's, I don't have to do that. So this is a very good one to pick. Okay, so we've got this M. Witten. We don't know which side, but we already have on chromosome 10, we already have in the same area a paternal match and a couple of maternal matches. So let's see who M. Witten matches. And if M. Witten matches Renee, then we know this is on Danielle's father's side. If Witten matches Windcat or Dina Cole, then we know this is a maternal match. So even though I have no clue who M. Witten is, and without even looking at the match list to find this person, in this case, I should be able to figure out at least which side of the family this is on. So now we got to do stuff on GEDmatch now. So I'm going to take you over there. All right, so there's a couple different ways we can do this. So I'm gonna show you another tool, which is people who match one or both of two kits. I'm gonna put in Danielle's kit number, 826174. Now I'm gonna put in M. Witten's number. I'm gonna leave everything the same and just go to display results. Now this is gonna give me a list of everybody who matches both Danielle and M. Witten. And so if I look down here, I can see, okay, on this list of matches, we have Danielle's mother, we have Danielle's half-sister, we have Windcat. So right off the bat, I know this is a maternal match. This person is related to Danielle through Danielle's mother. All right, just by looking at the list of who they match. Another way I could have done this would be to go to the one-to-one tool, put in Danielle's kit number. Here, let's check Renee. What's Renee's number? 187,990. Oh wait, I don't want to put in Danielle's kit number. I want to put in M. Witten's kit number. A158. So M. Witten is the unknown match. 158,380. So I know M. Witten has to match either Renee or Windcat. Should not match both. So I'm going to check against. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. Darn it. Back to the one-to-many or one-to-one tool. So I got to put in Witten, who's the unknown match. And then I'm going to put in Renee Tangen's kit number, 187,990. I'm going to stay on position only, and then I'm going to hit compare. And there's no match there. Okay, so let's double check. Let's go back. We'll leave Witten in there, and we'll put in Windcat's number, which was 628, 619. So they do match, and of course, not only do they match, but they match on that correct area of chromosome 10. All right, so let me stop sharing so we can go back to DNA Painter. All right, so now I'm gonna edit this match. I just clicked on one of the yellow bars, and it brings up this menu. I'm gonna edit the match. I'm gonna move M. Witten to unknown maternal. Okay, so that's done. Now let's look. Oh, my key got. So let's look at the unknown maternal. I think we have two different people in here now, don't we? Yeah, we've got M. Witten and we've got Wincat both in this. All right, and here it looks like they overlap. Well, yeah, we know they overlap on chromosome 10 because that's what we were looking at. But you see the overlap is not perfect because the DNA is random. All right, so I guess what I would do now, since we know this is on the mother's side, I would go back to the list of Danielle's list of matches on Ancestry. See if I can find M. Witten. So one way to do that, here, let's go to Windcat. Let's look at the shared matches. Because we know this unknown M. Witten matches both Danielle and Windcat. I would just scroll down here and see if I can see somebody that looks like they might be an M. Witten. Yeah, I don't see anything.
There was an NW.
Oh, Sandra Witten. Good eye. Good eye. All right, so now let's see. So now, according to Ancestry, this is one segment, 42 centimorgans. Let's go back to DNA Painter. Where's my M. Witten? This is one segment. Well, let me view the match. It should tell me the size of it, doesn't it? Yes, 50.6 centimorgans. GEDmatch is always going to be a little bit larger than what Ancestry reports. So my guess is that M. Witten is that person we just found in the match list. Then now this person has a tree. Now we can look at, managed by Sandra Witten. Let's look at this tree and see if we can recognize anybody. I don't recognize any of those names. And now since I don't subscribe to Ancestry anymore, does that mean I can't look at anything else? Yeah, I'm getting the dreaded pay me screen. Oh, and now this is in the way. That's not the one I want. So anyway, what I could do now is try to contact this person to see, compare trees, and I could wait till I subscribe to Ancestry again and then try to explore her full tree and see if, see who pops up that we could find.
There is a Witten middle name, Joseph Witten Bean. The 1915, the father of the private.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't know if Danielle's related to MW through his father or through his mother. We don't know that yet. We know it's through Danielle's mother, but we don't know if the match is through, which side it's true on this guy. But anyway, this is the kind of thing that you can do as your DNA painting. You can learn a few things. Now, let's see, we're already past a quarter of the hour. So what I want to do is go on to family tree DNA and show you where you can get this information to copy and paste in.
We have a question from Clifford. Please define centimorgans.
Centimorgans is just a unit of measurement of a segment of DNA. And I really can't define it any differently than that. It's the scientists figured that out, and so there's another way to measure is in base pairs, millions of base pairs. Here, let me go back to DNA Painter, and so you see here where it says this segment is 73 million to 120 million. Those are base pairs. Okay, so that's almost 50 million base pairs. In this case, that translates to 50.6 centimorgans. There's no direct formula to translate from base pairs to centimorgans because each chromosome has a different size. And then there's also SNPs, which is, I think, single nucleotide something or other. That's just another way to measure it. And there's in this match, there's 6,800 SNPs. And again, those are randomly distributed through the chromosomes. So it's just a way of measuring. Centimorgans, it's just a unit of measure. And what's important is this: the bigger the size in centimorgans, the more likely the match is to be an actual match the person that you share that DNA with, you both have a common ancestor. The rule of thumb is 7 centimorgans. A match of 7 centimorgans there's like a 50-50 chance that it's just a random match. So 50% chance it's random, 50% chance you actually got that piece of DNA from the same ancestor. Smaller, as you get below 7 centimorgans, the chance of it being random goes up and up and up. And on the other end of the scale, as it gets larger, like this 50 centimorgan is almost certain that these two people got this stretch of DNA from the same ancestor. And that's a long-winded definition.
And Janine is asking, do you have to have your tree on ancestry.com to use DNA Painter?
No, you can. You want a tree someplace. If you're trying to figure out how someone's related to you, you're gonna want to go back and forth to your tree. It doesn't even have to be online anywhere. It could be on your computer at home. But you just want to, because you want to look at your tree, and hopefully the match will have a tree, and you're looking for how they connect. And sometimes you'll have to research that other person's tree a little bit farther than they did to try to find the match. Sometimes you just can't find it because it's a roadblock. Anyway, I was trying to get over to family tree DNA. And I don't know. I don't even know if I put Danielle on there or not. Let me check my note quick. Danielle is on here. So let me sign into hers, and then we can actually try to paint something from here, which would be interesting because I've never done that, but we'll see how it goes. So I have to put her FTDNA kit number. And then, of course, there's a password. I have to try to type in properly, or else we're not going to get anywhere. I don't want to save that. Okay, so Danielle tested at Ancestry, but I was able to download her results from Ancestry, put them on GEDmatch. I also uploaded them here for free. Here's her list of matches. So her mother's there. Let me see who's interesting here. All right, well, let's just go with this Stephanie, whoever this is. Now, let's see, how do we do this? I think what I have to do is pick a couple of people. Let me go to Chromosome browser. Is that how I can get it? Let's see. Oh, I can't use a Chromosome browser because I didn't pay money for her. Okay. All right. So then we can't do that, but let me sign out. I'll sign into my kit. At least we can find out where this information is. All right. And I'm assuming you can see the family tree DNA screen, right? Do I have you on the right? Thing?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right, I don't want to save. So let me go. I got to go to my autosomal results. Family finder. Oh, matches down here. This is where I have to click. Wow, it's hard to believe it's been 5 years since I tested my DNA. Wow. All right, so this is my match list. Let me just grab a couple of people here and put them in the Chromosome browser, because I'm not quite sure where we get this information. Oh, here. So here's one place we can download segments. You can put up to 7 people in the Chromosome browser, assuming you've paid them the money or actually done the test with them. You can download, and I assume I'd get a CSV file. I believe also on the home page, or actually not the home page, but the match page. What can we download here at the bottom? I can download matches. That's not what I want to do. Maybe it's only through the browser that you can do it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so what this is showing me is where I match these 7, where these 7 different people match me. So there's one line for each person. All right, so like there's some overlaps here. And I don't even know. So that's Richard Haddon and Mike Haddon, which of course they would overlap because they're father and son. So yeah. Now who are these 2 people? This is Cheryl Pal. Yeah, the colors are kind of hard to tell. But anyway, so here, okay, so this is the chromosome view. Here's detailed segment data. So I'm assuming I could copy this and paste it in. Let's try it. Let me go all the way down to the bottom. Even though these are my matches, not Danielle's. Let's just see if we can actually paste these things in. Here, I'll go all the way there. So let me do Control C. Go back to DNA Painter, paint a new match, and see if it will accept this stuff. Let me see what happens if I hit save. Okay, I'm just going to put my initials in here because this is actually not DNA, not her stuff, but I'm just going to call this test. Leave it as not sure. Let's see what happens if we paste it. Oh, it did it. It did it. Nice. So that's interesting. It pasted them all in. It's interesting because, let me go back to paint a new match again. So you notice when I copied it, it has the name of the match, and then the information on the chromosome and stuff. Now, these are different people. I think it did it all as one match, which is weird. I don't want to save that again. It's looking at these. Oh yeah, all as one match. So I guess if you're doing this on family tree DNA, the way I just did it, I guess you'd want to be careful. I guess what I really should have done, you see, so here's one, and then Linda Dewey, I should probably just have, like, say, copied Linda's by herself and pasted that as a match instead of copying the whole table. I should have just gone up to Linda and stopped there. I should have copied that and done each of these people individually as a match. I think there's a way to download the whole thing, but I'm not sure. All right, let's go. We still got a couple minutes. Let me get out of here and try MyHeritage just quickly to see if we can figure out how you get the segment data from MyHeritage. Let's see, should be able to log in. Assuming I can remember my password and stuff. Okay, so it looks like I was able to log in. Let me go to my site here. Try to get on DNA. Come on, DNA. Oh my goodness. I don't want the ethnicity, I want the matches. DNA matches. I'm looking about. Okay, I don't see any place to upload. I don't see any place to download everything all at once, but let me go to Terry and review the matches I have with Terry. Because this should have a chromosome browser down here. So here's the chromosome browser where her and I match. So I can download, so for each match, you can download the shared DNA, and then I'm assuming you can copy it and paste it into DNA Painter. So I think we're up to 8 o'clock. So I think I'm going to stop talking, see if anybody has any questions.
And Janine asked one other kind of additional question. So does anyone else have access to your tree if using one on your computer? So I think
No.
Okay.
No,
So
I mean, if you're using some kind of software on your computer, as long as you're not putting it online, they shouldn't have any access to it. No. Like I use Family Tree Maker, so whatever I put on there is not connected to the web.
if
So
it's
no.
a standalone software program or something. Yep.
Yeah. And if you subscribe to Ancestry, you can put a tree up there and make it private, and you can make it private and not searchable. So nobody else would have access, and then nobody would even, if they were searching a name that you happen to have in your tree would not come up in the search results. So there are different options.
Anybody have any additional questions? This is very, go ahead, Amy. Can you unmute yourself?
Sorry, I have a couple questions. Thank you very much. Do they give you directions on Ancestry.com on how to download your DNA test kit, or could you show me where to go?
Yeah, well, there might, if you Google it, you can probably get instructions. I gotta go back and share the screen, but I can show you quickly that it only takes a few minutes to show where you gotta go. All right, can you see the ancestry screen?
Yep.
Mhm.
All right, now let me see if I can. Where's my? All right, so here's DNA. Let me go to my results. So from your summary DNA summary page, there's this settings up in the corner. You have to click on that with the gear symbol.
Yep.
And then as you scroll down, there's a place to download. It's down the very bottom. Download your DNA data. So when you click download, you have to put in your password, click the button, hit confirm, then it's going to send you an email to the email address that's linked to your Ancestry account, because this is another level to make sure you're downloading your DNA and somebody else isn't doing it. So you have to go get that email link, and it sometimes it takes a while. It's not instantaneous, but you'll get a link. You click that link, and then it will download a file to your computer. It's a zip file. And when you download it, you want to keep track of where it goes on your computer, because then when you're going to upload it someplace, you need to know where it is. But basically, that's all you have to do to download it.
Okay. Thank you.
And you have to be the manager. So if you're doing more than one, if you have somebody else's test on there, if you don't have the correct level of sharing, then you wouldn't be able to download their results. Okay. Anything else?
And somebody said, where did you learn to do this? Did you have a guide?
No, I've been doing genealogy for a long time, and when these tests came around, I decided to take the test because I wanted to see if it would, the results I got would match what I had in my tree. They did match on my mother's side, but not my father's side. And so the test told me that my dad had been adopted. So it was a search, to figure out who his parents were. And it was just reading things online and just doing things, trial and error. Just, when you have a hook like that, when you're trying to find out who your actual grandparents were, because I had no idea that my dad had been adopted. Though I should have known, because the man had no relatives other than his stepfather. It was the only relative of his I ever met. He had no brothers, no sisters, no aunts, no uncles, no nothing, which should have been a clue that he was adopted. But when you have a driving force, you'll learn things, and there's a lot out there online. There's a lot of blogs that you can read up. And then there's the things like we're doing tonight and through RGS that kind of help you to learn. The main thing I try to tell everybody when they're learning about this and when they're researching is try to focus on some genealogical question that you're trying to answer. Focus on that, and then try to figure out how to answer that question. That way you can just focus on learning what you need to learn, which tools will answer that question. And then if you're lucky and you answer that question, you can go on to something else and learn new things.
So another question, I noticed this is being recorded. Where can we watch this again? So I will send out a link next week. We'll put it up on the Irondequoit Public Library YouTube channel. And anybody that's registered for this will get that information. Another question, are there people in the Rochester genealogical group who are willing to work one-on-one with people safely, of course?
Actually, there are. And we used to, as I mentioned at the beginning, we used to do the in-person workshops a couple times a month. If you go to the Rochester Genealogy Society has a Facebook page called Rochester Genealogy Society or Genealogical Society. If you join that, and you don't necessarily have to be a member of RGS to join the Facebook group, I would join that group and post on there. John Stewart, I know, has offered to do one-on-one Zoom meetings. I may actually now that I'm working nights, I may have some time in the afternoons to do that too. But that would be the place to look for that, that kind of help. Just post something on that Facebook group.
I don't do Facebook. I just do have one question. So I'm adopted. I just did my DNA, but
Mhm.
I had started a tree in Ancestry that was related to my adoptive family.
Mhm.
And I don't know how, I tried to start another one based on my biological family, but I don't know how to connect my DNA results to it.
Oh, I can show you that too. Here, let me show.
Because it only connected it to my adoptive family. It doesn't seem to want to connect it to my, so I have two trees.
All right, so let me see. Are we back on the DNA settings?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, so, and this is the same thing as I've shown you where to download the results. This is
Right.
the DNA summary page, and then you go into settings.
Yep.
So right here is tree link. So if you have more than one tree,
Right.
this is where you would change it, right? So right now I'm linked to myself in my mock family tree. I could change that if I wanted to. And now I have a million different trees, but you just come in and pick the tree you want to link it to. And that's how you can change to your other tree.
Okay. I'll try again, but I didn't seem to have much success with it.
Mhm.
So it
'Cause
can
I'd
only
like-
be linked to one tree?
Yeah, it keeps linking it back to the Scarmazzino tree, which is my adoptive family.
Yeah, you can only link to one tree at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me stop sharing. If you don't do Facebook and you want to try some
Yeah.
one-on-one help, you can always try emailing me, and my email address is very simple. It's my name, donald.sigwalt@gmail.com.
And I will include that in my follow-up email too. And we had one other question: define autosomal DNA.
Okay,
Thanks.
well, there's three different, yeah, let me, I'm gonna take you back to family tree DNA. I'm just trying to get logged in, then I'll share. Oh, which one am I doing? I think it's this one. I don't know. Do you see GEDmatch or family tree DNA? I don't know if I did the right
Family
one.
tree DNA.
Okay, so there's three different kinds of DNA that you can test. All right, now the most common one that everybody does is the autosomal, and that's, my heritage, family tree DNA, ancestry DNA, 23andMe. They all test autosomal. That's what we were mapping. It's your 22 chromosomes, and then either your X chromosome. The other two kinds are the Y-DNA, which only men have, and that's from father to son, father to son. So if you're a man and if you do that test, it's helping you to find your father's 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 father, etc. The third kind is mitochondrial DNA, which is everybody gets that from their mother. So that's when you do that test, you're going along the strictly maternal line, your mother's 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 mother. But both men and women have that kind of DNA. So the mitochondrial and the Y are very kind of specific only to the two lines, whereas autosomal is looking at DNA that you can get from any of your ancestors. Is that a good definition, or do you need more?
This came in on the chat, so hopefully that's good.
Okay. All right.
And then Janine just wrote to everybody, just a point of clarification, you don't take a DNA test, you have a DNA test performed on the sample you submit.
Yeah, well. True, I stand corrected. But unfortunately, throughout the rest of my remaining days, I'll probably refer to it as taking a DNA test.
I know, I think that's the natural thing to say. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming. And as I said, I will send out a follow-up email and I'll give you information about the November meeting as well. Information about how to see this video again if you would like to. Sometimes it's better to watch it more than once because you catch things the second time around. So again, thank you very much. Thank you, Don, for presenting tonight. We really appreciate it.
You're
And I
welcome.
hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.